Okay, this is my week one recap video. I intend to do daily videos. There are a couple of reasons I didn't. One is I just didn't have all my ducks in a row yet. I've been preparing for this for about a month and a half, and I still didn't have everything set up the way I needed. And so I spent time making sure that I found the right personal trainer. I spent some time signing up at various, like the recovery center I've talked about. So I didn't get everything done, but the good news is I did everything I said I was going to do. I swam for 5 days. I did my weightlifting 3 days this week. I went to the recovery center 3 times. I signed up about midweek is when I got that all set up. So I did keep all of my goals to myself. And at the end of it, I'm not hurting that bad. I didn't really expect to. Again, my injury tends to delay manifesting problems. And so I expect that it probably won't be till the end of week 2, maybe 3, before I really hit a wall. But I'm just glad it hasn't shown up yet because I did push myself pretty hard. But I wasn't reckless in the way that I did it. It was controlled. And so I've written it all down. I know exactly what I did from every stretch to every specific exercise. I was on diet all week long. That really it was an ideal week. I did everything I said I would do, and I spent all of my waking minutes and time on this one task and things related to it. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. There are a couple highlights I'd like to share from the week that I think are memorable and worth pointing out. So early on, I found my personal trainer. I think that's the first thing. My wife had this impression that she should go to this new gym she's going to, and check out the personal trainers there. And she found this guy who basically has like 20 years of experience and spent at least a decade of that working with people with serious injuries. And he actually prefers to work with people with serious injuries. And I'm like, that's great because I am not a power lifter. I'm not going to be the kind of guy that's pushing myself to squat 1,000 pounds. So sounds about right. And I interviewed him, and he seems like the guy. So I'm grateful that I have him. So hat tip to my wife for doing that research and finding this guy, because I've looked online and there just are not a lot of people with this kind of background out there. Most of them are the kind of trainers that if you're fit, they're good for you. Or if you want to get really fit and push yourself, in the conventional way, like you would if you were a teenager, yeah, they're your guy. But not this guy. He's an injury specialist. So I feel really grateful that I found him. The other thing was I was sitting in the sauna at the gym, and I started talking to this guy. He's part Native American, and he started talking about Indian sweat lodges. And so I shared my ayahuasca story, and we just started swapping, ideas about therapies that might help me. And the one that he recommended that I thought had a lot of merit, I'd heard this, but I'd never had the gumption to actually try it, is cryotherapy. And so later on in the week, this will come back into play here in a sec. I'll talk about it. But I actually went down the cryotherapy route, and I took some cold showers, which I hadn't done since I was a missionary in Chile some 20 plus years ago. And I actually took a cold bath at the end of the week. I'll come back to that. But anyway, meeting him, and he initiated the conversation. I didn't even say anything. I was just sitting there sweating, and he's like, "Hey," we just started talking, and all of a sudden we're talking about cryotherapy and Indian sweat lodges, and just went down this laundry list of things that might be beneficial to me on my journey. This was the first of what one of my friends called synchronicities, and it's when you have these sort of spontaneous events where your destiny or your path starts to align with other people's. Like you go on a certain path and you're focused on one thing, you're all in on something, and then somehow one of those mysteries of the universe, call it God, call it vibrations, I don't know, but things lined up for me. And he was the first one of those people that I met that way. And then the next thing that I experienced, which was kind of a synchronicity, is one of the therapists at the recovery center that I go to. He tried something on me, and it was a little too harsh. And I remembered, oh wait, I've tried that in the past. I just didn't know. I remember the name, and it didn't feel very familiar, but it kind of felt oddly familiar. So we ditched that, but he's like, you know what? Let's try this other technique. It's part of our higher up membership, the elite membership. But I'm gonna let you try it and swap it for this other thing that didn't work for you. And so he did that, and we were talking, and he talked about, I started, this time I initiated, I talked about my ayahuasca experience and having been hospitalized. And then he opens up and just starts sharing a boatload of things from his life, how he struggled with, depression and other issues. And it just, I don't know, I feel like that was a big move for me because I don't, I normally wouldn't talk about this with people. I would not talk about that to a total stranger. I mean, I'm doing it with you now, but to do that in person, face to face with a total stranger was out of the ordinary for me. But what was shocking is that how open he was because I chose to be open. And then his willingness to help me on my journey just felt spontaneously lucky. Like, how did I deserve that? And then the answer is, I don't know, but I'm so grateful that it happened. And then the last thing I want to share relates to the cold baths. So I've been practicing meditation, kind of, I would say flirting with it for the last year, but I haven't really gone all in. It's just kind of here and there, here and there, here and there, kind of like every other day, but never daily. And I've been doing it daily for a while now, and I even upped the ante to be about 3 times a day with this program. So I'm meditating 3 times a day now. And I just realized through the course of the week that like there are all these opportunities to meditate at the gym or at the recovery center that I never would have considered before. So for example, when I'm swimming, I have this snorkel that I stick in my mouth, and I wear goggles, and I just stare at the bottom of the pool. I don't turn my neck because it causes problems with my spine. And there are these lines on the bottom of the pool. And so now that I know how to visually meditate, I focus on the lines. And then in the sauna, I can focus on, the pinging of the heater. That's a dry sauna, so there's a pinging heater in the corner. I listen to the pings, I focus on those. Or the beads of sweat moving down my body, I can meditate on that. And then the cold bath became sort of the example, the premier example of what I'm talking about. The way they recommend you do it is you do like a minute in the hot tub, 3 minutes cold, minute hot tub, 3 minutes cold, minute hot tub, 3 minutes cold, and then go hot so that you can be worked on. So I did that actually for 2 days, but and I stayed in there the last time on the first day, 8 minutes. And I froze my butt off. It was like a test of will to get that far. And when I got out of there, I was very, very grateful. But then I realized the second time I went back that I was going to get out after 3 minutes the last time because this is just uncomfortable, right? And then I remembered that the purpose of meditation is to help you distance yourself from discomfort. Well, it's a purpose. It's not the only purpose. But in my case, that's a completely applicable skill because I'm in a sense of discomfort a lot. So I'm like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for you to test some limits. Let's see what you can do. And so the last time I went in, I did the back and forth. And the very last time I stayed in there, and I'm like, okay, about 3 minutes in, I'm like, let's just focus on the motor in the jacuzzi. And it doesn't block out everything, right? I still felt, my limbs were kind of burning. I was shaking a little bit here and there. But I started to focus on the jacuzzi motor, and the time passed much easier. And I kind of distanced myself. I was noticing sensations appearing in consciousness. Yeah, that's uncomfortable. I don't like that. But it wasn't like directly plugged into me like it normally is. Like you're feeling the pain. You are the pain. The discomfort is you. There was a little bit of distance, just enough distance that I could observe it instead of just experience it. And I hope that's a good way of explaining it, but that's what it felt like. And I made it to 10. And the only reason I got out at 10 wasn't because of discomfort. It was because I had to go pick up my wife and my daughter from the gym because I'd left them there to go do the recovery routine. So it was an aha moment. It's like, you know what? It's kind of like the ayahuasca. I can do hard things. I can do really hard things. And I can learn new coping skills like meditation. And I can take them to the level where I can sit in a cold tub and freeze my butt off for 10 minutes and actually believe I could probably have gone for 20, maybe more. That for me was really a milestone in my recovery process that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't run into the guy in the sauna that talked about India sweat lodges and cold therapy. And I'm just grateful to him for bringing that aspect of my care into my mind because, you can meditate in a hot sauna, but it's not as uncomfortable as a cold tub. So the cold tub is kind of like the epitome of when things are really bad, when you feel awful, you can distance yourself somewhat from the pain you're experiencing and maintain a certain control that you can't if you're directly plugged into it. So this is something I'm going to be exploring more all the time. And that cold tub, that's going to be a part of my recovery process at the end of the week. At least 2 times during the week, I'm going to get in that cold tub and I'm going to meditate. I'm going to see how long I can go. Can I get to 20 minutes? Can I get to 30 minutes? If they call the ambulance because I'm hypothermic, that could be a problem. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So overall, I kept my goals. I was true to what I said I would do. I got everything set up. All my ducks are in a row, and I'm ready to make my daily videos now. And I hope that, again, as I experience new things each day or have new insights, often they come when I'm meditating in the pool or the sauna or in the cold tub, that I'll share those with you. And hopefully you'll find them beneficial and help you on your journey.